just one thing you should know about Nashville.
You know what? You're nuts. You're all nuts. You've been focused so hard on making it, you forgot about one little thing. It's called the music. And I don't even care. You know what? So what? I don't want to hang out with a bunch of wannabe corporate sellouts, and we are going to start a revolution.
Go forth and multiply. These songs are yours.
Texas Homegrown Radio.
This is a revolution.
Go on, friends. It's Clutto from Flatland Cavalry, and you're on the morning ride with the one and only Jody Lee on Texas Homegrown Radio.
Hey, y'all. We're Kinfo. And you're listening to the morning ride with our buddy, Stephenville's Coma King, Jody Lee. Hell yeah, baby.
It's the morning ride. Live from the Rockstar Ranch at Texas Homegrown Studios, it's the morning ride.
Nope. This is the first I've heard of it.
Come on. What?
Hey everybody, this is Ray Wiley Hubbard, and you're on the morning ride with the one and only Jody Lee.
I know that, dude. It's a household name.
All right, welcome back in. It is the morning ride right here on Texas Homegrown Radio, live from
Texas Homegrown Studios.
Ride. Bernie Nelson in the house. Man, it has been too long since.
You heard of fake news, man? I have fake GPS. And so I'm like down this dirt road, and it says, literally down this dirt road, turn left at the Whataburger.
When did Lincolnville get a Whataburger?
What the hell?
Why did nobody tell me about this?
It'd be huge.
For real.
Big stuff.
It'd actually be spelled water. Like.
And then I pulled out, and I'm like, literally talking to this cow. Do you know I have any idea where the hell I am? You got to ask the locals.
Well, Jeb says, what is it you say about out here?
I just don't want music to be something you got to go to town for, man. Of course, I stole that.
We're not in the sticks, but you got to go through the sticks to get here.
Yeah, we like it that way.
Yeah.
They keep the paparazzis away.
Sure, I get that a lot.
Especially when you got Bernie Nelson stopping by. You don't want like all the people hanging out with signs and stuff like that. You
Man,
know?
Danny Shirley told me when Confederate Railroad was rolling with Queen of Memphis and stuff, he wanted to go someplace incognito, so he put glasses on and a ball cap. And he said he sat in the bar and went, "It's cool, no one knows who I am, man." He's drinking a beer and, "This is awesome, man." And after a while he goes, "Nobody knows who I am."
that happened to me at the award show this year. Daniel Martin was there, the comedian, and I wanted to say something to him, but you don't want to be that guy either, because you've been around people, for so long. You don't want to like get in their space if they don't want to be seen. And finally, I go up and say something before I left though, because I just had to meet him and say hi, tell him I was a fan. And his guy that was with him, I was like, "Man, I'm sorry to bother you." And he goes, "No, thank goodness."
Yeah.
He said he's been over here the whole time going, "Not one person knew who I am." Like he said, it was really hurting his ego. I said, "I think everybody knew. They just didn't want to invade your space."
I was having lunch. Me and Tom Wopat, Dukes of Hazzard, were writing, and we went to San Antonio Taco Company in Nashville. And we're standing there in line with our order, and this guy comes up, he goes, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. I'm like your biggest fan." And Tom's like, "Well, thanks, and Dukes of Hazzard stuff." He goes, "Man, could I get a picture?" And Tom said, "Well, we're kind of like we're right in the middle of the song, just sneaking lunch." "Man, I'm from Minnesota. I'm like your biggest fan." And Tom says, "All right, man, just hurry up. Linda, get over here, get a picture of me and Larry Gatlin."
Oh, that's great.
Just crushed him.
Yeah, he went from "I don't have time" to "Wait a minute, you don't know who I am." Yeah. One of the favorite stories about Bernie, one of the first times that he that came in and I interviewed him. This was before I was even at Twisted J. This is when I was in that little building over by the And Bernie buys a cap from me. Won't take it. He has to pay me for it, And so I know this DJ in Nashville. And he messages me and he goes, "I hate you." And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, I'm doing a live radio thing, and Bernie Nelson comes walking up to our radio event in Nashville wearing a Texas Homegrown Radio cap. And I said, I will love Bernie forever. I was like,
first, we played that pool hall. Remember over there in Stephenville?
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, I forgot about that.
$12 PA system?
Yeah, it was bad.
It was rough. Yep. But, I did a show in Sonora yesterday with Eddie Smith, and 7 years later, all the people I've met all over Texas, and he'd say, well, do you know, yeah. Whereas 7 years ago when I met you, if you just said, hey, do you know who Corey Morrow is, I'd say no.
Yeah.
And now we're all besties and stuff.
Well, and I think, because you were originally from Texas, right?
No, I was born in the territory of Alaska.
Alaska?
Yeah.
How did I not remember that?
Yeah. And it wasn't even a state. We weren't even a republic. We didn't have that. You all had that, So, but I moved to Nashville from Colorado, and but all my friends, from Texas.
I think I just felt like you were a Texan, so I just
got here
in my mind, I just thought
that.
I just thought you always were.
You sure? I'm gonna tell everybody. Yeah. No,
I know.
It's been awesome, and I mean,
you can tell everybody you're from Texas. I've been telling everybody that I'm your steel player.
He is just from Texas now. He's been here a while now.
Yeah, they finally taught me the handshake.
We adopt everybody that's good.
There you go.
I had a fight with a listener one time about that, and they were like, you played somebody that wasn't from Texas, and you're supposed to be Texas Homegrown Radio. And I was like, oh, you mean like Reckless Kelly? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, they're from Idaho.
Yeah.
And he's like, what?
Jerry Walker. Yeah.
I just started naming off people, and he's like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what we do. We adopt you if you're good. That's why we came up with the artist exchange program. Yeah. Like if somebody from California wants to move here, we get to pick 2 people we don't want and we'll swap them out.
I'll trade you.
Nashville, it takes 3. Exactly. If you want to send 1, we'd send 3 there.
Yeah.
Things have changed a lot there, haven't they? I mean, you were there writing back in the day.
It's always a cycle. It goes in 5-year cycles. This last one lasted a long dang time.
Yeah, way too long.
So I've been writing with Matt Rogers that wrote Till You Can't, and I've known Matt forever. And I was talking to his publisher at Sony back in December, I guess it was, and we're talking about me coming over there. And I said, well, you seem to have plenty of writers. He said, Bernie, we sit in a listen room with 7 song pluggers every day for 5 days a week. Every morning, we listen to 5 new songs, and we wait, and we wait, and we wait for the hook and the payoff, and it never shows up.
Yep.
And then we listen to lyrics that they keep changing and editing and putting the same lyrics in a new song. He said they don't have an original thought in their head, so when can you start? And I said, well, that's because y'all spoiled them for 6 years and let them get away with that crap,
What a catch. You see that
so,
catch?
There's some great songs out there now. I mean, and people like Cody, who aren't really songwriters, are the new George Strait. When George was having hits, he didn't write those songs.
Right.
But, and a lot of these people have become great writers. I mean, Lainey Wilson's a great writer, and Zimmerman's a great writer. Riley Green's a great writer. Hardy's a great writer. And I wouldn't use that term if I didn't believe it, but I listened to their lyrics. But I think they're finally getting a chance to do what they really want to do. But I'll do a show at the Freak Show on a Wednesday night with Terry Joe, and they're all these young writers, and they got cuts on whoever. And I'll open up my mouth and sing, and the phones come out. They're like, that's a real damn song. And I'm like, yeah, it is.
One of my favorite stories, I was trying to tell Jeb this story, but I can't tell it like you did. But one time I interviewed you, you were telling me about, you were playing somewhere, I think it was in Texas, that you had to play all originals.
Yeah, at Cheatham Street Warehouse.
That was Cheatham, yeah.
And Holly-Anna came up and she said, you can't do cover songs. And I said, okay, thank you. And I said, well, here's a song Randy Travis recorded. I just told you can't do originals. You can't do cover songs. And I said, okay, well, here's a song that Trace Atkins recorded. And she goes, what part of you can't do cover songs? And I said, are they considered covers if I wrote them? And she grabbed the microphone and said, he effing wrote these songs. well, that's what we do, you know.
Well, yeah, but most people that play like the hits are doing cover songs. I mean, you just happen to write a lot of them.
Yeah, well, you know, there's that. But now
I bet you get that a lot too with Daddy Never Was the Cadillac kind.
No, you know, I was in Alpine doing a show. Check this out. I'm in Alpine,
Texas.
Right, and I said, well, here's a song I wrote, and I played Plainview. And like 8 people are coming up like, wow, we're the biggest Kinfo fans in the world. I'm like, I'm in friggin' Alpine, Texas. You know?
Out of all the hit songs.
But then Kinfo played with the Whiskey Jam in Nashville, right, at Irv's place. And they started the show. I told them they wanted to do Teardrops on the Rocks to start. I said, no. You're going to do that thing where you play the fiddle and you go right into sitting on a bar stool. I said, you're going to blow the lid off this place. I said, well, I thought we couldn't do covers. I said, you can do anything you want to up there. I said, but if you, and then do Mas Tequila and end up with Honky Tonk in Heaven. So they played Honky Tonk in Heaven, man. And I'm at the back of the bar with Herb. And everybody's singing along. And I'm like, how can that be? I'm in Nashville.
Right.
But, you know, I mean, when you got people like Joe Kelly blasting you out to 4,000 stations, it's going to get all the way.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I think social media is really, that's one good side of it. I mean, it's easier to get stuff out to the masses if you got the followers.
Very true.
You know,
Can
if
you
the
say
right people.
masses?
Yeah, masses.
Masses. That's not my massa. It's a southern thing there. Yeah.
I'm never going to hear it the same now.
No.
Thanks, Bernie.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, really, that is the good side of it. I mean, there's some bad sides of the social media stuff, but I think it is good that people can find new music like that, like Kinfo, folks like that, you know?
I run away from TikTok, but now I'm like, what are you, stupid?
Yeah, I mean, it's...
I mean, I had a company approach me, and they offered me like 3 million streams added in the first month. And so I was looking at it, and a friend of mine in Nashville said, don't go there. I said, why? She said, Spotify will pull you. Because they see you jump from 60,000 streams to 3 million streams. They know it's all AI created. And I thought, well, I don't need that. It's not like I'm going to get, Spotify's generally going to pay me anyways. But I mean, here's the difference, and this is what we're trying to fix right now. Because I believe in Texas radio. I believe in Texas artists. I believe in independent radio stations like this a lot. But what we need is streams. So why is it Riley Green gets 300,000 streams a day and Corey Morrow gets 60,000 streams a day, maybe, you know? That's got to change.
Yeah.
Because the talent is there, you know? And it all gets down to, when I was talking to a label in Nashville, they were going to put me on Outlaw and Spotify. And they said, don't worry about the charts. It has nothing to do with you making money. And you know that. We both know #1 artists in Texas don't make any money. But it's all about exposure. I mean, there's people on Outlaw Radio that I don't think are all that great.
Yeah.
But they make $30,000 a show, you know, or more. And it's because everybody knows who they are.
Exactly.
You know. And if I tell you that Achy Breaky Heart is a great song, and you hear it 30,000 times, you're going to start thinking, well, I know Achy Breaky Heart. But if you've never heard Plainview, you're not going to know anything about it, or Kinfo. So it's all about exposure.
Yeah.
And, you know, a couple of tequilas, I can get exposed really quick.
Jeb knows about exposure.
That's right.
Exposure will kill you. You hear that all the time. Being an artist, though, you know, come and do this show. It's going to be great exposure. And then to which I replied, my cousin died from exposure 6 years ago.
Well, like with Stockyard Cadillac, you know, the Stockyards is using it for their new theme song for all their spots up there and stuff. It's really cool.
Check this out. Bernie is like high tech too. This is the coolest thing. Yeah, I love that Bernie is like ahead of the game always. Look at that.
The thumb drive jacket. How cool is that?
That's so cool. You're the first person that's brought me something like this.
They came out for all those out there artists listening. WTS Media in Nashville, and it's
WTS.
I think they were like, I want to say 262 a thumb drive with the jewel case.
That's awesome. Yeah,
that's cool.
Stockyard, they reached out to me. Linda Wilson hooked me up with their marketing people, and they said, we're going to use this song. Can we send you a licensing agreement? I said, yeah, it's great. So we do all the paperwork and stuff. I said, so is there any money? No, but your exposure is going to be
It's going to be huge. Yeah, so much exposure.
But I am going to try to get the vinyl up there at Chiefs because we got vinyl on this.
Yeah, for sure.
Kyle Park turned me on to
show that one
to vinyl, and vinyl's back. How cool is that?
You show it. There you go. Yeah, vinyl is coming back for sure. Oh, Sharon Hutchison says.
Turntable myself.
Sharon Hutchison says, "Good morning from Canada, from PEI in Canada."
Very cool. Eh?
And Beverly Gosda Jenkins says, "You could be one of her A-Team artists anytime."
That's me.
Do you know Beverly?
Do I?
Yeah, she was Vern Gosden's. Well, I mean, still is, I guess. But I mean, I don't
really?
know yeah, widow.
Oh wow!
Beverly's amazing. She actually just came down here from Georgia and hung out with us. What was it, last weekend? Was it last weekend?
I did a show. We did the Bluebird with Buddy Cannon
there.
And in the Bluebird, I said, Buddy, what was it like sitting in the room with you and Dean Dillon and Vern starts singing "Is It Raining in Your World?" And he's like, "There's just
nothing,
no way to explain that." You know, I mean, right. I've seen Vern very intimate little shows and stuff, but one of the greatest voices out there of all time.
The voice.
If you're going to do me wrong, do me right.
Yeah, right.
The good stuff.
Good stuff. Oh, Tommy Patterson says, "I love the thumb drive. Where do I get one? I got to have one."
Seriously.
Oh, mine, BernieNelson.com.
There you go.
Yep, there you go.
We need to get you some shows down here so we can just go watch you play.
Yeah, we played over in Abilene last night. Me and Miss Gibson. And, man, I had a good time.
I don't know. I hated it. I missed it. I told JB, I was like, why didn't you tell me? Which, of course, I was sick anyway.
I'm going to get this right. Midlothian tonight. Playing up with Mike Crow and...
Oh, that's always good.
Love the Crowman show.
Yeah, he's the best.
So funny. And so Chris, my boss, put me on a little run, and I ran into Crow's place, and he didn't have time to do an interview. He said, I'll just meet you outside in the lobby. So, dude, we stood there for 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Crowman's the best.
Once we started talking about Chris Wall and Jerry Jeff, it was game on.
Yeah, he looked.
Yeah. He said, well, how do you know Chris? And I said, you know Confederate Railroad. And he goes, what? I said, you know Trashy Women. He went, oh, yeah. So, I don't know. I think I told you this story, but I sat down with Railroad, and I said, man, we should go in and recut Trashy Women. And they were like, why? And Blue Miller from the Gibson Miller Band, Blue, was producing Danny. He said, well, why did we do that? I said, what if we did Still Trashy after all these years and we put a new version out? Why? I said, well, we could get new artists on it. Well, who could you get, Bernie? I said, who could I get?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Who can you guys
you're
get?
Confederate Railroad.
So I said, what if we could get Colt Ford to write a rap verse? Come on, Bernie, seriously. I said, no, would that be cool? Yeah, but seriously, Bernie. So I reached out to the label through a buddy of mine, and they're like, well, Colt's pretty busy, Bernie. I said, just send him my text. Okay, he said, Bernie Nelson wants to know if you'll write a rap verse for Trashy Women. Like 3 weeks later, man, Noah Gordon calls me back from Average Joe's and says, dude, Colt is jacked.
I love that song.
So we get Colt on board, and he writes the rap verse. So then they're like, who else can you get? And I said, again, I'm just an artist-songwriter. I'm not a big executive like you guys. So I get John Anderson through his fiddle player, Joe Spivey, right? So John sings the first verse. So we got this verse in the middle. Of course, Danny Shirley's singing the choruses and stuff, so it sounds just like Trashy Women. So I said, what if we got Willie? And they just laughed at me.
They're like, yeah, okay.
We're at the Longhorn, and we're having this meeting. They just laughed at me, and I said, well, I can ask. They said, well, go ahead and ask, Bernie. So I called Buddy, and Buddy said, well, send me the track. So I sent Buddy the track, and it took about 3 weeks, and I get an email at like 11 o'clock at night. It said, Willie's in.
Wow.
So then, I don't know how long it took, maybe a couple months or so, and literally at like 1 in the morning, I'm just sitting up and with my laptop, and this file comes in. It's Willie, Mickey Raphael on harmonica, and Trigger, just the files, right? And I sent it off to Danny Shirley. I said, how much you love me now, man? So when it got all mixed, I called Chris Wall. I said, how much you love me, man? He goes, I love you, brother. I said, well, I got your Willie Nelson cut. He goes, what are you talking about? And he thought I was so full of crap, man. But it's on the Lucky to Be Alive record. And I'll play it for you when we get a minute. But
Heck yeah.
Hearing Willie Nelson sing, that's a cocktail waitress and a Dolly Parton
That's
wig.
pretty funny, yeah.
And then the rap verse is really cool.
That's greatness.
Yeah, they're great.
Bernie knows a lot of people.
Yeah, you do.
He acts like you don't, but
no.
Yeah.
I'm a songwriter. This stuff's not true. I make all this stuff up.
I know people that do that, but I know that your stuff is always legit.
You're legit, dude.
Because Bernie always talks with first names, like you know, and you're like, who? Oh, yeah. When he says George, I'm like, George who? And he's like, straight. I'm like, you just call him George? I'm like,
sir.
Yeah,
Sir George. I write with Bubba, and I saw Bubba at this event, and he played, and man, I felt so bad for him because when he got off stage, there was this big line to meet him. Right? They didn't want to meet George Bubba. They wanted to talk about his daddy.
Yeah.
So when Bubba and I get together, we talk about guitars, we talk
everything
about
but
horses,
George.
his kids. But
he almost went to Tarleton. He was real close.
Yeah.
They were trying to get him to rodeo here.
He's really a cool kid. Yeah. My buddy Alan Shamlin, Alan's in the Hall of Fame. He wrote The House That Built Me and I Can't Make You Love Me and stuff. So Bubba wants to write with him. So they were looking for like 5 more songs for the record, right? This is how cool Alan Shamlin is, man. Alan says, Barney, could we write with Bubba after the record's done? And I knew exactly what he was saying, man. I said, yes, we can. So we didn't want to write with Bubba to make him think we just wanted to get
on the record.
His daddy's
Yeah.
record. That's cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
And if we write something and it stands the test of time, it'll go on one of the records and stuff. If George still makes records. But that's how cool Alan is.
Yeah, that is cool. Really cool. Yeah, you want to come across that way.
Alan wrote this guy named Rodney Crowell recently, and they have.
I know, right?
They have the title track on Willie's new record, The Border. It's a badass song.
Man, one of my favorite stories, if you don't mind telling it again, is the story behind you writing that song, Daddy Never Was a Cadillac Kind.
Yeah, Jeb's talked to, ever since you came to our show in Fredericksburg, and you said that before you played it, Jeb's talked about that. I've heard him try to tell this story.
It's a great story, man. I can't tell it.
You can't tell a story like Marnie. Nobody can.
Well, the idea, we had this gym off Music Row, and everybody worked. I worked in there. You remember Tex Cobb?
Tex Cobb, no.
He was an actor. He is an actor. Remember, he was in Raising Arizona. He was the motorcycle dude.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay,
well, he was a boxer.
Love that movie.
He fought Larry Holmes for 15 rounds. He was one of my running buddies. We worked out in this gym, and Undertaker and I worked out in this gym, and a bunch of people and stuff. It was crazy.
The Undertaker.
Yeah.
So, so I'm in this gym, and Jim Dotson, who was my workout buddy, he was the head of security at WWF. He was also The Rock's bodyguard. And we were working out in there, and they played heavy metal, old rock and roll, and it's like AC/DC or something like, Cadillac, and I'm like, I heard the word Cadillac, and I'm like, so, and I'm ADHD, so in case you hadn't noticed, and look, squirrel.
So is Jeb.
So I started putting it in my head, so I called Dave Gibson, and we just came off a Conway Twitty hit, and I said, hey man, I got this idea. So Dave said, it was like 9 o'clock at night. He lived close by. He said, you got a bottle? I'm like, of course I got a bottle. So we start writing it, and the idea was my mom and dad were raising my sister's kids because my sister was in big trouble, like jail. And so they were raising my sister's kids, 3 of them. And my mom's uncle passed away and gave them a brand new Oldsmobile, brand new. It looked like a Cadillac. It was really nice. And Daddy sold it for the money. So they had money to help raise those kids. So Daddy, back then, if you'd have gave him a Cadillac, he would have just sold it. And, and Dave's dad was just the opposite. Dave told me my granddad was that way, but my dad loved Cadillacs and stuff. So we wrote all the song, and then we couldn't wrap it up, and I forget where I was at, and it just came to me, the last verse about the hearse Cadillac, and called Dave, and I said, if we make this real, like he finally got to ride in a Cadillac, and Dave went, oh dude,
That's it.
So we wrote it, and What was really
Great song, man.
What was really cool is the day they recorded, Barry Beckett was like one of my godfathers, and Barry was producing Railroad Runner and Warner Brothers and Atlantic Records, and he produced Old Time Rock and Roll, Kodachrome, and he was one of the Swampers down there in Muscle Shoals. And so Barry said, man, we're cutting your song today. So we got over there, and I'd heard that through the label that Danny Shirley, the lead singer, was fighting it. He didn't really think it fit them. So we got in there, and it was time to cut Cadillac. Me and Dave and Danny came out of the studio after laying something down. He goes, boys, I don't want to ruin your day, but I just don't think this song works for us. And he was smoking, and Barry was smoking, and Barry took a drag off his cigarette. So I tell you what, let's cut this track. And if you don't like it after you do the scratch vocal, we won't ever come back to it at all, and that'll be that. So Danny asked me if he could lower the key from G down to E, and the next 5 minutes is what we've been hearing on the radio for the last 30 seconds.
Wow.
And Danny came out.
That's crazy.
He took a drag off his cigarette, and I love singers that can smoke cigarettes and go in and cut a vocal.
Right.
And he comes out and he's scratching his head. He said, man, I don't know, that felt pretty good. And Barry turned to me and he goes, Barry Beckett said, I love when I'm right. And that's where it went.
Awesome,
and
man.
Then Daddy died in 11, and he had neuropathy from the chemo, but he could still drive a little bit. And he was back in like April, and he died in July. He said, I never said I wouldn't like a Cadillac. And I said, well, Daddy, why didn't you tell me that before the BITCH got the house and all the money? And so I started calling around trying to rent Daddy a Cadillac for a few months. No one would rent a car for less than a year, and I didn't need it for a year. So finally, I called this place near where Daddy lived in Michigan, and I told them who I was and what I'd written. And they said, can you hold the phone? And this guy comes on the phone. He goes, this is so-and-so. I'm the general manager here at Lavity Cadillac. And did you write Cadillac Connie? I said, yeah. He goes, are you Bernie Nelson? And I said, yes, sir, I am. He goes, Mr. Nelson, we played your song 2 years ago at my grandfather's service and 3 years before that at my dad's service. And I said, well, I'm really sorry about your family and stuff. He said, can I ask you a question? I said, yes, sir. He goes, what color Cadillac would your dad like? And they gave my old man a Cadillac for 3 months, yeah.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, of course, I called the paper. And there's this picture of my old man on the front page of this paper up there, and it says, Daddy finally was the Cadillac.
I love it, man.
But I always tell these young writers, when you write something about killing somebody off, just know that it will come back and kick your ass someday, man. And watching my old man go down the road in that hearse and knowing that song, it just was like karma, yeah.
Yep.
Karma. But it's
a beautiful song, though, man. That's one of the best right there.
It's been one of those songs. I've had a couple like that where, years later, and Danny Shirley will tell you this, Dave Gibson will tell you this, where people come up and tell you, man, I was doing a show in Angleton, man, and there was this bachelorette party in there, and I played all these songs. This really pretty girl staring at me, and she's probably about 25 years old, and I mean, she's just going right through me with her eyes and these pearl blue eyes. And after the show, she comes up, she goes, did you really write that song? And I said, yeah, I did. Thinking, well, let's see where this is going. She goes, my granddad played me that song when I was a little girl. Crushed me. Just crushed me. I said,
great stuff, though, man. Like I say, man, one of the best, man. That's a great song.
Yeah, and we like your version. I mean, I like their version, but I love your version.
Alan Shanlon and I wrote a song. We wrote it for the Judds, trying to get on the Judds' last record, called It's Never Easy to Say Goodbye. And they wrapped up their record. So Kenny Chesney cuts it, right? And I thought, well, that's cool. And then out of the blue, Winona cuts it, and it goes on her first album, which sold like 7 million records, right?
Wow.
Had no one else on earth on it and all this stuff. So then recently, of course, what happened with her mom.
Yeah.
So why put it back in the show? And it's powerful. It's real powerful. And watch her do it live. And people sent me clips of her doing it live. And it's just, we lose people, and it's hard to let go. And songs like that and Cadillac Kind, I think that those are the type of songs that will always resonate with me. Mm-hmm. Don't Laugh at Me, and Girl Going Nowhere, The House That Built Me. Those are the songs that resonate with me, So I hopefully can kick a few more of those out down the road. So.
Heck yeah, man.
Shoot, everything you've
you like Bluebell ice cream, man. You make more.
Are you still doing the weekend at Bernie's stuff?
This is my last year, I think. I got one coming up this weekend and stuff, and I don't know. I mean, like I said, this whole new album is Weekend at Bernie's songs. People that came to the house and wrote. They're not professional songwriters, and 3 of them were combat vets from one era or the t'other. And
wow.
So I love writing with my veterans. And,
yeah.
But this album is real special. I mean, we put Barbershop out. That was written with a Vietnam veteran buddy of mine. And I knew Barbershop wasn't going to be a barn burner or tear up the charts, but I just felt like, I wish we had it out now. It's about mending fences and about, I don't agree with you, man,
right.
But I'm still sending you a Christmas card, And I've got friends of mine on Facebook who they politically disagree with me, and they would come at me on Facebook, and these are my heroes. I mean, big producers,
right?
Big producers, monster musicians and stuff. And I would PM them, look, all my friends want me to drop you. And all my friends are people who are very big people. And they want me to block you on my Facebook. But here's the thing, man. I love you, man. I'm your biggest fan. So if you ever need songs, if you ever want to write, you ever want to hang out, but I love you, man, just so you know it. And he came back at me and he said, Bernie, you're the only one, man. He said, all the other people that believe the way you do, they call me names and stuff, but you're the only one, man. And so he produces a little group called Lady Antebellum and the Dixie Chicks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's like, what do you got? So it's back in the day, we didn't get into that stuff.
We don't have to have the same opinion on things to get along.
That's why Barbershop did that. And the new album, there's a song on here which is going to be the title track called Texas Dance Halls. And I had a picture of the Stampede, Jody Nix's place out there.
Yeah.
And Jody sent me a picture of it, and but it just didn't quite look like it had the appeal to me for just walk by, see this record and stuff. But
yeah.
Texas Dance Halls, I saw Music Row Nashville just disappear. Literally like castles in the sand, rain just washed them away. That's what it looked like, watching these old buildings just disappear and 4 or 5 story condos go up. And that's happening in Texas right now.
Yeah, it is.
And I see places like Cheatham Street and Luckenbach. You can see that they're literally within the thralls of some greedy SOB from California that just wants that property.
To build a condo.
And it's a matter of time before somebody offers Green Hall money that they can't refuse, or Luckenbach money they can't refuse. And that's what happened. I promise you, in the next 20 years, somebody will buy the Ryman, tear it down brick by brick, and put it someplace else. And they're going to use that property and put a $50 million building in there that we do not need.
Yeah.
So Texas Dance Halls was about that. You want to hear it?
Yes, I do. Does one-legged duck swim in a circle?
And does a 100-pound sack of flour make a big biscuit?
I threw my old guitar back seat of my pickup. I had a show last night down in Greenhole. There were long necks and rednecks with suits and ties and Tony Lamas and all my heroes up there on that wall. Tell me, where would we be without Texas dance halls? Tell me, how would the music survive? And God bless Texas and those old honky tonks and all the songs they'll sing in them tonight. The first time I played at the Cheatham Street warehouse, that train whistle blew as she rolled on by. Kent Finley had one rule: play as long as you want to, but son, don't play nothing you didn't write. Tell me, where would we be without Texas dance halls? Tell me, how would the music survive? God bless Texas those old honky tonks, and all the songs they'll sing in them tonight. You know, last night I woke up and I had tears in my eyes from a dream that I had in my head. 'Cause I dreamt that they tore down Looking-Back, Texas, and built a brand new hotel there instead. Tell me, where would we be without Texas dance halls? Tell me, how would that music survive? God bless Texas and those old honky tonks, and all the songs they'll sing in them tonight, and all the songs they'll sing in them tonight.
Oh, that's good stuff. Bernie Nelson right there, live.
Country and Western.
We got both kinds.
Both kinds.
That's good stuff right there, brother.
It's just, you know what sells the best? The truth, man.
Yeah, that's one thing. They got away from that for a little while.
I tell these young writers, look, the greatest songs that you'll love, the ones that you're attached to the most, Merle Haggard, George Jones, Cody Johnson, whoever, it's just conversation put to music.
Mm-hmm.
You know, upstairs in that little back bedroom, that's where I learned to play guitar and did my homework. That's just conversation put to lyrics, to music and stuff. You know, he wore a starch white shirt, was buttoned at the neck, his teeth were all gone, but what the heck? I thought he walked on water.
That's such a great song.
That's just conversation.
Exactly.
You know, you go back and you listen to Broken Halos. You listen to Eric Church's Springsteen.
So, with your big list of hit songs you've written, can you pick out, like, what is your favorite? There's
a favorite, of mine, and then there's the ones that the mailbox money still shows. The cuts, you mean?
Yeah, I mean,
out of all of them, in my opinion, like, what's your favorite song you ever wrote? Out of all of them, right?
It's hard. It's always the last one.
That's what you meant.
It's always the last one.
I've always pretty much leaned toward my song Yellow Brick Road, when Yellow Brick Road turns blue, because I met Strait one day and he told me he really wanted to cut it, and then John Anderson ended up putting it out, but then 10 years later Chris Ledoux cut it and put it on the Western Underground record. But years ago I was doing a show with Tony Arata that wrote The Dance, and Jimmy Stewart that wrote A Little Less Talk, A Lot More Action, Brotherly Love. And across me was this guy named George, and his songs weren't really knocking me out. And I thought, man, I've got a Conway Twitty single. This is how bad my ego was. Now, since I no longer have an ego, I was thinking, man, why is this guy around with us, man? And then George said, here's my new songs kind of aren't that good, but here's a song I wrote for this band I used to be in. And George played Fire on the Mountain from Marshall Tucker, man. So I told George what a suck ass I was. Literally told him what was going through my brain, and he just laughed at me. He said, well, Barney, my new songs aren't that good, but man, you're blah, blah, blah. So I asked him, I said, well, what did you and Toy Caldwell write on? Did you write on Les Pauls and stuff? And he said, Toy had a 69 Hummingbird, so.
Wow.
Found him out in front of the mission, playing on this old guitar, bumming taps and cigarettes, and drinking from a mason jar. Said I moved to Nashville back in '68. Next year I bought this Gibson, thinking I was on my way. And he played Fire on the Mountain, and I saw the light. Said he jammed with Johnny Cash down at Tootsie's late one night. And ain't but two things in this whole damn world to me that have any worth. That's my King James Bible and this 69 Hummingbird. Said he went to Vietnam, but things were different when he got home, 'cause everybody was playing the Beatles and getting stoned. He said, you know, I made a record once right down there on Music Road. Nobody paid it any mind, but hell, that's just the way it goes. And he played Wild Horses and Tiger by the Tail. Said, boy, you just ain't country if you don't play Long Black Veil. And ain't but two things in this whole damn world to me that have any worth. And that's my King James Bible and this 69 Hummingbird. Never saw that old man again, and I heard he passed away. But I found that old guitar in a pawn shop the other day. The case he left behind, that Bible and a note saying Jesus told me he loved me, so tonight I'm going home. And I played Walk in the Garden, what a friend we have in Jesus, and Rock of Ages and Amazing Grace. But ain't but two things in this whole damn world to me that have any worth, and that's that King James Bible and this 69 Hummingbird. Hummingbird and fire on the mountain.
Oh man, that's because I got the chicken skins on that one.
Yeah, man, that's a great song right there. That one line gets me, man. That King James Bible,
yeah,
and it's
69 Hummingbird.
Dude, come on.
Yeah, it'll find a home. It's out there on one of the records. We finally got a great track on it. I went and laid it down. I think I put it in the studio 2 or 3 times, but I never quite got it right this last time. I've been blessed to cut all my stuff.
That needs to be a George song. That needs to be a George Strait song.
I think it's a Killer Cody song is what I think.
Yeah, that'd be good
Cody
too.
Would tear that up.
Cody would, yeah.
Morgan could tear that up. I mean, it's just these guys are for real. They really are. Post Malone, those guys, and Jelly Roll. Jelly Roll will get it because Jelly spent, I was a deputy sheriff for a while, and Jelly spent a lot of time in my jail, and he went through his issues. And what I love about country music right now is it's not about who has the tiniest ass and pair around. It's who is for real. You know? Ashley McBride. I mean, come on. I mean, these people are for real. And I met a girl last night, that Lindsey Buchanan girl. She knocked me out.
She's amazing.
She's beautiful and she's soulful, and that's what works right now. And I'm telling you that I love Michael Ray. He's way too good looking for his own good, but he's just.
I have that same problem. It just haunts me.
Cursed. But to me, that's not what works anymore. People they're starving for the truth because Kane Brown and those people, and they didn't get your attention. But all of a sudden, Jamie Johnson comes out.
Yeah.
And then Chris Stapleton comes out. And then John
Jamie's
Party,
awesome.
You know when the walls came down, when John Party sang "As Long as She Ain't in It," that was the most country song on the radio for the first time in like 7 years. And when that came out, I went, "There is hope," And then all of a sudden, Cody Johnson comes along.
Yeah.
But you listen to Hardy, man, that Wait in the Truck.
Yeah, that was a good one.
There's
Lainey
some
Wilson.
serious songs out there. Riley Green.
It's about time we had some songs that said something,
And they're real songs, man.
Because how many songs that did people write that just been sitting there for years that are
The House
amazing
That Built
songs?
Me was 7 years old. Till You Can't was 7 years old.
See, that's crazy. Why we got to wait so long for good stuff to come out?
Here's why. Matt Rogers said they cut 3 of his songs for that record. And that record sat there because they were waiting for the dust to settle. Warner Brothers wasn't about to stick out a country song until they thought it was okay to come out.
That's the problem. Everybody waits for everybody else to prove something or to do something.
I think his first big hit was On My Way to You. And then after that, I think they brought out Till You Can't. I remember I was driving to Green Hall and I heard Till You Can't.
Yeah.
And I Googled it. And I called Matt Rogers and I said, dude, did you write this? He's like, yeah. And I was like, wow. And we had just come out with Rewind on Kyle, which is real similar.
Yeah.
You know, you can't take back what you didn't do. And I said, man, it's amazing. I hope it does well. You know, boom.
There it went. I know everybody asks me because I've known all these guys forever. I've been in radio for 30 years in Texas, so a lot of these guys that are, going to Nashville now, and they're like, oh, "Are you mad Nashville's stealing y'all's artist?" I said, "No, we're like Bluebell ice cream. We'll make more."
That's right. Well, what's
Steal all you want. We'll make more.
What I love though is like I sent Jake Bush over to Nashville to meet up with, and him and Jesse Robb, those two can tear.
Oh yeah, Jesse Robb, man. He sounds so much like Cody though. I think it almost hurts him. But they used to write together.
But they go to Nashville like
started together.
Like Kinsey Cochran did.
Yeah.
And they get around, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it like it is. The best songwriters in the world are in Nashville for one reason. They got the same skin as the guys in Texas.
Yeah.
But they're writing so much. So if you want to build a great rocking chair, you build 3 rocking chairs a year, they're not going to be that great.
Yeah.
But if you build 300 rocking chairs a year, by your 331st rocking chair,
you're going to start getting some pretty good chairs. Yeah.
And you know what else you do? You've learned to throw away all the junky parts you don't need for a good rocking chair. So when I get into a writing room with Alan Shamlin and Matt Rogers, and we write, those throwaway lines that you hear on radio all the time, they don't last a minute. They're like, well, Barney, that's been done. I'm like, thank you. You know what I mean? So we get right
saves
down,
times.
We
Yeah,
get
it saves
right
time.
down to it. And that you hear these new songs on radio, and you can tell. I mean, that Man Built a Bar.
Yeah.
Phew. That's some stout stuff in there. There's some great writers in Nashville, and you know a lot of them and stuff. But
I'm glad they're getting away from the tailgates and trucks and
right.
Yeah.
Light bear.
Back roads. Tractors.
Yeah, tractors. I mean, there's that video out there you can watch. Why did country music suck in 2014? Have you not seen that?
That's a thing?
Have you?
No.
You can watch it.
Check
It's
that
like,
out.
You had to have a song. You had to have a song about Silverado, up and jack my truck and my flatbed, and all these lines are in there. And you had to have a girl in tight jeans, and painted on jeans, and stuff. And then you got to have liquor. And then
It almost got like Mad Libs.
Oh.
Like it was just you plug in your brand of truck and
it was a template.
Plug your favorite
trying to
legend country singer.
I know a guitar player. I won't tell you who he is, but he told me he played the same lick on 7 number ones in 2014.
What?
Yeah,
I believe
lick.
it.
Yeah,
and that's got to get boring to those session guys too. Like you got to be like, come on.
Here's what happens. I was writing with Jeremy Bussey the other day, and Bussey wrote "Girl Going Nowhere" and "Up for Line." So they'll put him on a retreat. So Sony Music, Spirit Music, Smack Song Music, they get 2 or 3 of their writers, and you go on a retreat. So there's 7 people sitting in a room with one idea, and 4 of them pull out their laptops and start writing tracks.
Wait, 7 people with one idea. They must be liberals.
Yeah. Well, no, a liberal would steal a great idea.
E-double-E-double-R-U-N, beer run.
Even better.
But then they'll have one writer, and he writes the song, and the rest of them write tracks, and then they're like, man, we only made $70,000 off that number 1. That's because there's 7 of you.
Yeah, just split it. Yeah, it's like, it's like having a big band. It sounds great, but you ain't making no money.
Yeah.
Simple lines.
And I tell people, till you've had success with solo rights, and my first big cuts were all solo rights, and it taught me so much to trust in myself.
Right.
But then I became a sponge, man. I mean, Don Schlitz and Wayne Carson and Dave Loggins and Russell Smith. Those people taught me so much. I was working on a song one day with Russell Smith, who wrote Third Rate Romance and Old School, and I wanted to write this song called Silhouette Town. And the idea was so cool. People would pull down their shades because they were cheating, but you could see
the shadows.
Silhouette. I said, they're living in a silhouette town. Russell said, yeah, I love that, but it's complicated. I said, no, it's a cool vision. Now, I'm talking Russell Smith, Hall of Famer. And he said, people don't like complicated songs, Bernie. They like melodies they can't forget and lyrics that are real simple. And you go back and listen. If you want to listen to simple lyrics, listen to ZZ Top.
Yeah, right.
All they did was rhyme. She's into hanging out with Great Danes and doing cocaine.
Yeah.
I'm like, great, you got it to rhyme. How cool is that? But you just keep it simple and look at the biggest songs. I mean, they're not complicated. Broken Halo is not a complicated song. That's what I love about Stapleton. He'll hit a line in a song like nobody but blame but myself, and it's so simple, or Memphis. Those are simple songs, but when you got a torch for a voice, you could sing the phone book, for crying out loud.
True that.
It's true.
But Texas is, I keep meeting people that blow me away that I didn't know or that I've heard about, and there's some monster writers. Aaron Watson's a monster writer. I mean, I've been hearing more and more of his stuff. Wim Clark Green, what a great kid.
Yeah.
He's a Stephenville kid, isn't
Oh,
he?
yeah. Well, he lived there for a little bit. He used to stay at my house all the time. Made me make him breakfast all the time.
Speaking of Stephenville, I'm writing with Leroy when I get back to Nashville.
That's my dad. Okay, he hadn't admitted it yet, but
yeah,
he used to ask my mom out all the time. He asked my mom out all the time in high school, so I give him a hard time about it. In fact, see that record player back there in the corner? That was his grandmother's.
Wow.
I bought it at a garage sale.
We did a show over in Marble Falls. We did a guitar poll, and they had a Q&A in the middle. So it's Dave Gibson, wrote Ships That Don't Come In, and me and Dave and Leroy. And the question was, what was your first gig that you remember? And Dave said, well, I was probably, I did a frat party and stuff, and I was playing like Beatles songs and stuff. Bernie, I played a VFW, and I probably did some, probably did Jambalaya and maybe a little bit of Smoke on the Water back then, whatever. All right, Leroy, what was your first gig? He said, I had a Roy Rogers guitar. I was 6 years old. I backed up Bob Wills at a radio show in Dallas. I went, well, you win.
You win.
How do you beat that?
Right.
Wow.
But his uncle played with Bob Wills, and I don't know if you know this, but Leroy's mother's an Ellis, as in Robert Earl Keen's mother. It's their sister.
Wow.
And then Roger Brown, that produces Matt Castillo, he was my roommate in Nashville. He's from Menard. He's an Ellis. They're all related.
That's crazy.
Matt Castillo's steel player works with us a lot in here. Daniel Johnson.
Yeah.
A heck of a good guy.
Yeah, he's our new session guy.
That's what I love about Texas radio. There's
a tie to a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not only that, but you can color outside the lines, and uniqueness is what really sets you apart.
Yeah, we don't like rules in Texas.
Rules are meant to be broken.
So, man, congratulations on your award. I was there that night.
Oh, really yeah, cool. Thank you.
I got in there.
I'm too fat to wear it, but I
got
set
in
my
there
belt
late,
buckle over there.
And I was like, I'm starving, and I smelled pizza, and that pizza place was insane up there.
Yeah.
I tore that up.
I wish I could have food again. I miss things.
I
gave up liquor, cigarettes, sugar. I have no sugar anymore. I only have 0 sugar things.
Yeah.
I really need a habit.
Yeah. All you got left right now is your jokes and your guitars.
I'll never let go of my jokes
or your guitars.
I went sugar and wheat free,
especially my jokes,
and just got shredded, man. But I started feeling puny, But I can't do wheat. It really it's like almost like having an allergy. I get like congested. So wheat free, but I haven't drank. I just go and if I'm not in the mood, and I haven't been in the mood for like 5 years now. So the only thing I really miss is my cigars.
Yeah,
I used to love sitting out on the back porch smoking a good cigar, but it just this stage of my life. At some point, when it's time, I'll just like one.
Be like on Independence Day. Whenever
Yeah.
Fat Lady sings.
When Fat Lady sings.
Yeah.
I've got a goal. And so my backyard, I got about a half mile to the back fence, and I got a big pasture back there, then a dirt road on the other side of that fence. And at some point, me and a horse are just going to do that back pasture.
I love it. Well, I've been slacking over here. Everybody, you're blowing up the internet over here, and Yaroslav Yen. I gotta say hi to Yaroslav Yender because he's on me for not reading his comments. But Yaroslav's over in Poland.
Oh, cool.
Heck yeah,
he wants one of these also. So go to BernieNelson.com, right, to get these. These USBs.
They're really cool. I mean, we looked at some different options and stuff.
And
got a plug down there too if you want to plug a guitar.
Jamie Buck Shipman said the house that built me still brings tears on. Song hits me so hard.
It's a good one. And you know, that song was written by Tom Douglas, who wrote Little Past. I think I'm on a roll here in Little Rock. You know.
Oh yeah.
And Alan Shamlin wrote "I Can't Make You Love Me." It took them 7 years because they overwrote the song. Let me do this. I'm gonna do it without a pick. We were poor when I was a youngin'. Don't remember ever going hungry. Daddy made sure we didn't do without. Went to school with some of these fellas. Had money and I was jealous, and I didn't know then, but I know now. Daddy say you can't judge a book by looking at the cover. It's what's inside really matters. Daddy never was a Cadillac kind, and said some things just glitter and shine, and taught us that love was the one thing money couldn't buy. Daddy never was the Cadillac kind. I left home right out of high school, got me a big car and thought I was so cool cruising around the neighborhood. See Daddy after church on Sundays. Say you have to go riding with me someday. He just said no, never understood. And then he asked me how I bought it. I told him on credit, and Daddy just smiled. I'll never forget it. Daddy never was a Cadillac kind, and said some things that glitter and shine, and taught us that love, it was the one thing money couldn't buy. Daddy never was a Cadillac kind. Took a while, but now I'm grown and I'm settled down, kids of my own, and the more I give them, well hell, the more they want. Daddy left us last November. Don't remember him ever looking better, all laid out in his Sunday best. And sure, instead of all that attention, all he'd wanted was a few words mentioned. A simple man simply laid to rest. As they drove him away in that big Cadillac with a tear in my eye, I had to laugh. Daddy never was the Cadillac kind. He said some things, they just glitter and shine. Oh, but just that one time, I sure hope Daddy enjoyed the ride, and Daddy never was the Cadillac kind. My daddy never was the Cadillac kind.
That is, I still like that version. I like your version best.
Love that song.
I always will.
I got to tell you a quick story. So, when Conway House on Lonesome Road came out, I drove over to this dealership just off Music Road to look at trucks. And back in the day, I was with ASCAP, and ASCAP would just give you a check when they, especially on a Conway, they knew you had a check coming. So I pull in, and there's this incredibly good-looking short bed Chevy, and on the back tailgate it said "Heartbeat of America," and it was a very unique truck. Had a Corvette block in it, and it was a very unique truck. It was,
hell yeah,
ran like crazy. So I said to this guy, I said, "Man," I said, "whose truck is that?" And the guy said, "Oh, that one's paid for. It's always somebody's." And I said, "Oh, well, who's this?" He goes, "Some kid named Bernie Nelson." And I said, "Well, I'm Bernie Nelson." And he goes, "Well, I guess it's your truck." And I said, and I'm driving this Jeep, right? And I'm like, "Well, how can that be?" He said, "You know a guy named Merlin Littlefield over at ASCAP?" And I said, Merlin was from Littlefield, Texas. And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "He told me put one aside for you. Thought you might like it."
Wow, that's the one that you were looking at,
right? So I literally let go of my Jeep that day. I traded it in. I said, "Well, how much for the Jeep?" And never saw the Jeep again. So I drive that truck up like 2 weeks later to see my dad in Michigan. Right, he's way up north camping with Mom and Dad and some friends and stuff. I get up there and Daddy sees this truck. He goes, "Wow, that's a great looking truck." I said, "Thanks, Dad." He goes, "Nah, that's a hell of a truck." I said, "Is it new?" I said, "Brand new, Daddy. Ain't got 2,000 miles on it." He said, "Wow, that's a great truck. How much are the payments?" And I said, "Well, Daddy, there ain't no payments." And I'm all bowed up, right? And Daddy said, "Well, how come there can't be no payments if it's a $20,000 truck?" I said, "Well, Daddy, your son has the new Conway Twitty single." And Daddy looked at me and he said, "You ain't got to lie. How much are the payments?" Too funny.
Ouch, Dad. Come on, man.
You gotta lie. You gotta lie. That's cool, man. Love me some Conway Twitty.
I'll extend that story a little bit further. So the day I bought the truck, I drove down Music Road. I wanted to show it off, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And Mickey Foster, who I talked about earlier, she was selling her Jeep to Dean Dillon. So Dean's driving this little yellow Jeep down Music Road, and he sees me, and I said, "Hey, how y'all doing?" And Dean goes, "Pull the F over." I said, "What do you mean?" "Pull over." So we pull him back at Waylon Jennings' old place, right off 17th Avenue. Pop the damn hood. So I popped the hood. "You SOB. I said, "What?" He goes, "I wasn't planning on buying a truck today. I got to go." And he just hauls butt down to the dealership and bought a dually that day. And I'm like, "Well, all right. I'm glad I could help you, buddy."
We can't have a Jeep if you don't have a Jeep anymore.
Right. I'm going to go buy a Harley tomorrow in case you're interested. You know.
Got keeping up with the Nelsons.
Keeping up with the Dillons. And, you know, I pulled into Sony the other day. I was riding over there at Sony Music. And you can tell the ones that got a BMI check, man. They got the biggest trucks out there in the parking lot. Like, oh, you must have a Cody Johnson. Good.
BMI writes checks?
Yeah.
Huh.
Dang.
Yeah, you were wondering where all that money went,
Yeah,
right?
I wondered where that went.
Yeah.
There's a lot of facets to this. You know, we were talking to a fella. He was telling
What
us.
did he say?
We went.
He say facets?
Yeah, facets.
Oh, whoa.
He pulls out some big words every once in a while.
I've been working on my words. I'm up to 67 words now.
Wait till but he's only. I got him that encyclopedia books, but only up to F. Like next month, other ones come.
It's getting there.
I thought facets were those little things, those burlesque dancers attached to their. They spun around, you know.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly right.
That's where fascinating came from.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
What was I talking about?
BMI.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of things that like you can do to get BMI to pay you. Like for instance, they're collecting money from all these places. We had artists tell us about it the other day. When you play so many shows a year and you're playing songs you have registered with BMI, it's up to you. They're not going to find you, but it's up to you to send in and say, "Hey, I played this many dates. I played this many songs in live settings that owe me for, and they gotta cut you a check.
Well, it's called BMI Live, ASCAP Live, and what's cool with me, I can put all the Kinfo shows and all the Kyle Park shows and my shows in there. But there's a new PRO, and I want to brag about it. It's called Alltrack, ALTRACK.
Alltrack.
And they are the new PRO that I've just moved to. I'll start with them in September. So BMI ASCAP, this is just gospel from a guy that's been doing this for 40 years. They take care of one thing and one thing on the top 3%. And that anyone that's ever had a number one in Texas will tell you that there's just no money there.
Yeah.
So most of my money from BMI Texas comes from my BMI Live. So I've had like a number one song I wrote by myself, for example. I didn't see $300. And when I was told I would make at least a couple thousand at least, never saw it.
Yeah.
So without getting too political, that money went to somebody else who doesn't need my money. Let's just put it that way. So Alltrack is a new company, and you can find them online at Alltrack Licensing, and they're going to take care of the middle guy.
Really?
That's
good to know.
Alltrack. Because I was ASCAP. BMI sent me a letter, asked me to switch. And then I switched, and I did one songwriter showcase and never heard from him again.
No, that's just it. I mean,
I had to resign from ASCAP.
Well, the songwriter thing is probably my fault.
But I've been with all three, CSAC, BMI, ASCAP. I've been with all three times. But what's cool about when I go to Alltrack, I can move my ASCAP catalog, which the bulk of my big cuts were in ASCAP. I'll move those to the new company, Alltrack. Then I'll do Alltrack Live. So instead of collecting just Kinfo and Kyle Park live money, I'll collect Confederate Railroad, John Anderson.
Wow.
Winona.
Like, so everybody you wrote for, basically,
when
they
you
do it
look at
live.
Kinfo, for example, I mean, they play the Houston Rodeo.
Yeah.
Check that out.
So
yeah, Kinfo's blown.
So
in fact, one of our sponsors, Wild Will's Saloon and Dance Hall, Kinfo's about to be there playing for Will's birthday. He's been promoting that. I believe it's the 17th.
Is that the one in Ranger?
Yeah, Ranger, Texas.
I think it's a 26.
It's a great spot, man.
But I'd seen them. They've been advertising that. Gonna be. Yeah, we played there. We opened up for Great Divide the other day there. So
that's right.
My friends that own the Trio Club came out last night, and they said, "We hope we're not too late to get the Kinfo tickets." I said, "You don't need tickets." They said, "Well, we want to get tickets." I said, "You don't need tickets." I said, "I'll just call somebody."
I know a guy that knows
I know
a
a
guy.
guy.
I know a guy that knows a guy.
I'll hook them up. But Rico's been great.
Rico's awesome, man. He's so much fun.
You know, they cut Cheaper Than the Truth, and they play that live, and it's bone chilling. You know, so is that my boss? Is that Chris?
No.
Okay. She's awesome.
That's my drug dealer, HEB. I got medicine that's ready, evidently.
But man, I'm so proud of you, man. Look at you. I mean, you've been in and out of health issues. Now you're on the right track.
I think so. Hope so.
He's doing good, man.
Yeah. Yep. Now that I got rid of all my bad habits,
he's been kung fu-ing the freaking
I think the sex change is really working.
It's done well for me. Yeah, it has.
A lot of people haven't picked up on that yet, but I can tell. I see things.
If I could just get rid of these boobs,
that's
the last thing. If I can get rid of those, I'll be all right.
The man pups.
Yeah. Have to wear a bro when I go out jogging.
Whatever.
Put an eye out. That's what I call it, the bro.
Yeah, we go back.
Cold in here. My nipples are like pencil erasers.
We used to hang out at Legend, remember? And
yeah, back in the good day.
With Ruck Buffalo.
Yeah.
And didn't Co start out there with you guys too? Yeah.
I used to do song swaps with Co. Nobody believed me. I was horrible back then too.
Bill Wetzel's actually my cousin.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
They Brandon Summerfield actually hired all these musicians to work out there. He hired all these guys to mow the golf course, and I'm like, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
But he wanted to keep them making some money, so they keep singing. So he helped a lot of them keep going.
And you turned me on to Larry Joe.
Yeah.
And me and Gary P. Nunn played Downtown Steveville.
Oh God, I love Gary P.
Great. when John Burris was still with him.
Yeah, we saw John. We were playing a show. Who was he with?
He's
Randall King. Yeah,
with Randall King now.
We were playing in the stockyards, and they came up behind us. We were on the rodeo stage.
Oh yeah.
And Randall and Burris came up behind us and surprised us. It was only like 205 degrees or something outside. Yeah. Last year, somehow survived it.
I think I'm going to be working with Dee Foster here shortly. So I just love that, man.
Well, see, now we're going to, every time we go to the stockyards, I'm going to have to jam this stockyards Cadillac on the way.
Have you seen if you go to my Facebook page, if you go down far enough, you'll see that there's a cartoon of the Stockyard Cadillac, and it's their ad for the new app for Stockyard Cadillac.
Nice.
Who owns that stock? You want to hear Stockyard Cadillac?
I do. How'd you know?
Well, deep down in Old Fort Worth, where they have that cattle drive, there's a big old long Cadillac, always caught my eye. It's got shiny hubcaps, long horns on the grill. Always thought that riding around in it would be a big old thrill. Tell me, who owns that Stockyard Cadillac? And I heard that it was Elvis who first parked there and got too drunk at the White Elephant to drive it anywhere. Some say Gene Autry bought her new in San Antone, got to smoking weed with Ray Price and forgot to drive it home. Tell me, who owns that Stockyard Cadillac? It's 77, 78, 79, I don't know. One thing that's for sure, it's seen its share of rodeos. I bet Willie in old Whalen drove around just raising hell. Oh, the stories that hand-stitched Naugahyde could tell. It's got a kinky Freedman for president bumper sticker and a trailer hitch. Bet they used to haul Bevo behind that son bitch. Every time I'd see it sitting there, wanting to take it for a spin. Wish I could drive her down, looking back, see Jerry Jeff again. Tell me, who owns that Stockyard Cadillac? 'Cause it's a 77, 78, 79, I don't know. One thing that's for sure, it's seen its share of rodeos. I bet Willie in old Whalen drove around just raising hell. Oh, the stories that hand-stitched Naugahyde could tell. 350 cubic inches sitting underneath that hood. Front-wheel drive, man alive, they had it tuned up good. That GM Maple's yellow never ever lost its glow. I know everything about it, but there's one thing I don't know. So tell me, who owns that Stockyard Cadillac? Tell me, who owns that Stockyard Cadillac?
I love it. The new anthem for the Stockyard.
That got my gears going in my brain. Like who's
now you want to know? Inquiring minds
created a new legend.
I think Crow sent that song off to the guy that originally owned it, and he had just passed or something.
Oh no!
But at some point there was a kinky Freedman for president.
Had to be.
I got one on. I had one at the house for a long time. I used to have one on my case, but
I used to have I actually got to hang out with him. It was pretty cool. Him and John Schneider at the same time, and Ruth Buzzy.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Texas is the only place you'll find a Cadillac Coupe de Ville with a trailer hitch on.
It's very true, and probably horns on the
Horns
hood.
on the grill,
Yeah.
Come on now.
I seen one at Allsup's not too long ago. A white convertible Cadillac pulling a horse trailer.
Nice.
It just had a one horse trailer on it.
Oh, it just.
I was like, that's got to be a Chris Ledoux fan.
So Texas. And it's just when we cut that, I had Joe Spivey on the session, and he was part of the Time Jumpers, played fiddle on Seminole Wind.
Yeah.
So I said, Joe, swing this thing, man. And my guitar player had a 335 that day, and it just so swinging. We sent it off to Jason Roberts and Ray and everybody, and maybe somebody will put it out there someday. And
heck yeah.
It's just fun. We got a great track on it, let's put it that way.
I love it, man. Bernie, it's so much fun having you
man.
in studio. Check out his new album, Stockyard's Cadillac. Bernie Nelson. You can get this flash drive because everybody's asking me where did I get it. Kayla K says, hey, is that Bernie? Remember old Kayla K?
Yeah.
Over in Snyder. But go to the website, right? BernieNelson.com.
And Schneider, I love me.
And it's so cool, man.
Yeah, and the thumb drive. And I tell you, my neighbor's got a Harley, and I live up on a hill, and it goes up and down to the mailbox about a mile. And I'm hearing my song, and it's coming towards me. I'm like, that's weird. And I forget which song on the album it was, but it was my neighbor on his Harley. So it's the first time I've heard my song played on a Harley. That's how far
That's
we've come.
funny. My songs get played hardly.
Exactly.
So close.
Hardly a Davidson.
See what you
Hardly
did
a
there.
Davidson.
Hardly a Davidson. It's like
Jeb used to have one of those.
Like
I
a
did.
Rolls Canardly.
Yeah, my dad, he got me this, I was a dirt bike kid, and I was all over tearing it up with that stuff. But my first one was a Honda 50, and my dad, we kind of souped it up, made it way faster than it should have been. And that's a whole other story. But he painted it all orange and black, and he put Hardly a Davidson on the tank.
So listen, I want to give a piece of advice to all you young, aspiring Texas artists, female, male, whatever. Buy yourself one of these. This is real important.
Okay.
Go up to Buc-ee's. Go in. Find yourself an Atlas map. And put that SOB in the front seat of your truck. And highlight where you're going. Because your GPS is going to get you lost at some point.
It will lie to you.
It'll lie to you.
It's AI taking over.
Oh, it's crazy. I'm going through, I forget where it was, coming out of, I was like 20 miles out of Abilene. And it said, you are 277 miles from your destination. I was like 30 miles out of San Angelo. And I'm like, what the heck?
I know. I just envisioned what really happened. So there's this little computer nerd sitting in the room, and behind him some road country artist.
Yeah.
And he's going, hey, we need to get Bernie lost. He's writing too many good songs still.
He's on the road.
We thought he was done. He's on a roll. He's writing more. Let's get him lost. Make him turn left. Turn left. Make him...
Just hand me your guitar.
Sure.
That don't happen very often.
Man, that plays nice.
Now I know what those other frets are for. Very cool.
Jeb does that to me all the time. He'll break your string on purpose, and then I told people my guitar's broken, and he plays mine. And
I'm going to tell you one more crazy story.
all right, one more story before we get out.
Steve Earl and I were playing the Sutler one night, and Steve would just beat on his big old J200, and he had a couple of them. And I didn't know, but the place was packed. I mean, all the label people were in there, and Guy was there, right? And I'd never met Guy at that point, but Steve, we took a break, and Steve said, hey, man, you got a G string or a B string? I said, somewhere I think it was, man, I ain't got time. He goes, I got a buddy of mine here, and MCA Tony Brown wants to hear him. Can he play your Martin? And I said, sure, man. He goes, okay, then we'll get back up. I said, okay. So he goes through the crowd, comes back up. He said, Bernie, this is Lyle Lovett. And Lyle got up with my guitar and played If I Had a Boat.
Oh.
And I'm looking at the squirrely looking SOB, and I'm like, we need him in this town like a homehead. No, go away. No. This guy's too good. No, go away. That's my introduction to Lyle.
You're like, no, I don't love it. Go back to Texas.
And I could go up to Lyle today and go, hey, remember that time you played my Martin at the Sutler? Who are you? What? No, I don't remember that.
I love it. Bernie's got so many good stories. I feel like you just need a podcast. Just tell stories all day long.
Well, the book's kind of like that.
It is. The book's amazing.
If you don't have the book is called Honky Tonk Angels. It's the stories behind the biggest songs in country music. Lucille, The House That Built Me, Boy Named Sue, Delta Dawn, all this stuff. And I'm a Christian. I don't sound it half the time, but it talks about how amazing God's grace has to be to make all this stuff happen. I sat in a room the other day with Alan Shamlin, wrote The House That Built Me, and Jeremy Bussey wrote Girl Gone Nowhere. We sat there for 5 hours and didn't write one song. We could have. We had all the tools, but that inspiration wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I walked out of there and I went, that is so cool. That is just so awesome. It just proves that when it's not the time.
Yeah.
And when the time is right, you can't stop it.
Yeah,
that's true.
I just had that conversation. Actually, we had a bunch of family over for the 4th, and my better half, she come in. She goes, "Hey, everybody's here and they're showing up," and I was like, "But I just had this idea for a song."
Yeah.
And she just smiled real big. I go, they always come at the worst possible time, but I can't stop it. And she's like, "All right, you work on that. I'll take care of the other."
And I mean, and then there's times when you don't plan on writing, like you said.
Yeah.
I think 3 or 4 of my Kinfo songs, Locked Up in Lubbock was 4 o'clock in the morning, roll out of bed, wrote it down, and then Teardrops on the Rocks was written between San Saba and Fredericksburg, and Honky Tonk in Heaven was written between Texas and Tennessee, But
I just wrote one while you were talking in
Yeah.
my head. It's called a honk tua.
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Wait, have y'all? I started seeing all this stuff about Hawk Tech, and I'm like, what is this?
Oh yeah.
And finally,
I had to ask him.
I
about
googled
it.
what it was.
Is it?
Hawk tua.
That's what we're into.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what's
Hawk
blowing.
tua. Yeah,
Hawk tua.
she's got people now. She's got
Oh,
her
yeah.
own people.
There was a guy who made a song
Just for
about it
sale.
She
already.
going on Jimmy Kimmel or something like that?
Yeah,
Like,
she sang on stage with Zach Bryan.
give me a break.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're bringing her into the music world.
She's gonna make an appearance at our show in Hamilton at the Grain this Saturday.
Does she reenact the Hawk
I mean, possibly. I've heard.
Oh yeah, they got a song that's "Give Me That Hawk Tua," and she's probably going to be on there. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a country song. Yeah, there's a country song about it.
Yeah.
There's all kind of songs. It's terrible.
So she's a spitter.
Yeah.
Let's just say it like it is. I'm just sorry. It's just,
But her favorite bird is a swallow.
that's right. Good Lord.
She's above. No, never mind.
don't
Don't do it.
We got to get out of
What's
here.
your favorite team? The Yankees? You know, if you're having a bad day, watch Tommy Boy. I'm sorry.
It's still, yeah.
That
Chris
was
Farley.
incredible.
Fat guy, a little coat. I do that at least once a week.
No,
What'd you do?
Nobody's watching. No. Go ahead. Nobody's
Peace. Still want to try that. I figure I would get tased.
Yeah.
What'd you do?
No, it's just, I have to see those shows. It just gets my head right, you know, Wayne's World or something.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just, I go back there. It's too cool.
You can get a good look at a steak by sticking your head up the.
Get out of my shop.
All right, we got to get out of here. I can sit here all day and talk to Bernie, but we're out of time. We got to get out of here. We got more shows coming up. But check it out. Go to his website. Check it out, BernieNelson.com. Go download his music. Everywhere music is stolen, you can download this.
Who are our sponsors today?
We got some great sponsors like Wild Will's Saloon and Dance
That's
Hall.
right. There's not a stranger in Rangers. Get your thrills at Wild Will's.
That's right. Oh, Kinfo's going to be playing there soon, so get your tickets unless you know Bernie Nelson.
They're not really family. They're just like family.
They might as well be. If I had to pick other family, I would pick them guys.
Yeah.
They're a blast, man. They're still. I've had so much fun with them in studio. It's just like you hurt after they leave.
And you know
just
what was
from
cool
laughing.
was when they first went out, people had no idea what was coming.
Yeah.
And then they were like, what just happened?
What? Yeah. What? A tornado just came in and then left.
Yeah.
And so
awesome.
talented too,
Yeah.
though. You know, just and nicest people you ever meet.
Yep. So you got a lot of good sponsors?
A lot of good sponsors like Cannonball Insurance Solutions. And brought to you by Brazos River Air Conditioning.
Do you need an AC?
Call Wacy. Find them online, BrazosRiverAC.com. And brought to you by the new hotspot for music and food, Double D Barbecue.
You don't need no teeth to chew.
Yeah, go check them out over there in Bluffdale, Texas. Tommy Alverson's going to be playing there coming up soon.
In Ernie's Egg Farm, where you get A1 large, and they be too large, and they can't be too large.
Nothing's too large at Double D's. And brought to you by Wiley Disposal.
Is your trash in a piley?
Call Wiley.
Don't lose your smiley.
And of course, our favorite person in the whole wide world, Beverly Gosden Jenkins and the A-Team out there in
If you want the
Georgia.
cream of the crop,
Got to rise to the top.
call the A-Team.
You know what I mean, Bern?
That's right. I mean,
You're just enjoying playing Bernie's guitar over there.
It's
aren't you?
nice, bro.
did I tell you my two favorite love songs I ever wrote?
What's that?
Win Barber, who wrote Waiting on a Woman and Long Sheen in it. First song we wrote was Even Walmart Wouldn't Take Her Back. And then we wrote this tragically sad song called Did I Take My Dip Out for This? There's a video looking for a place to happen right there.
Oh my God. Now I want to hear those songs. That's greatness. You pitched those to Buck Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
That is just
All right, we got to get out of here. Bernie, you got to finish out the sentence for me. It's tradition. Sure. Done it many times. So for Jeb, for Bernie, I'm Jody Lee saying take it easy. And if it's easy,
Give it away.
Excuse me? Excuse me? I apologize. I forgot you were there. You may go now. Well,